Welcome to the channel for the first time viewers. Welcome back from my existing subscribers. It has been a while since I have covered a video in regards to controller reviews or just items to be reviewed in general. But I wanted to review the Elite Series 2. I've had a couple questions about it, made a post on Instagram. I'm going to do a different format this time. I'm going to throw a couple pictures in there as well as some gameplay to kind of mix it up and break it apart. I'll also link my Series 1, now that we're going to call it used to be just called the Elite. But I'll link my Series 1 review in the description, so if you want to see kind of where it came from and where it's at. So starting off, here's the good about the controller. The controller feels better. It feels tighter than even the regular Xbox One controller without the paddles. So it feels just as tight as that, and it feels definitely smaller but more put together than the traditional Elite, so the first Elite. One of the things I really like about it is how they went all black with the finish. They wrapped the rubber completely around. I know there was a big issue in the past where the rubber would peel, and a lot of people had that negative experience. If you have an Xbox and you've been to any of the stores recently, you'll probably notice that some of the special edition controllers have had the textured triggers. Like the Gears of War controller has a textured trigger, the active controllers have textured triggers, so they kind of have that little, it's kind of bumpy, so it gives you a better feel on the triggers. The other thing along with the triggers is that they added another level of trigger stops, so it's like literally a hair trigger stop, so you have not even a quarter pull, and that's the max, and it already engages. So that's really one quick way if you use DMRs, or if you play a game where you have to do LT or RT in succession. That's going to be a big advantage for those people. I also like the shift feature. So this is a cool little feature. I think for me, I feel like the people that play Fortnite are going to benefit from the shift more than anything. I don't play it, but I've seen how some of these kids build. And what it does is you can map a button onto your controller that will literally flip everything. So it literally acts like a shift feature. It'll flip everything to beat other controls. So let's say, for instance, you wanted A to be jump, and then when you hold shift, you want it to be something related to building. So like all your face buttons are for building. While you hold shift, you can do that. All you gotta do is just hold the shift button down while you do it, and then press the button that corresponds to it. The other cool thing is the Xbox Accessories app, just like before, is more or less the same. It shows you your picture of your Elite controller, but it's just more streamlined. It looks nicer. It just says top right paddle, bottom left paddle instead of P1, P2, P3, P4. I never understood that. It was just like really weird, and when I first got it, I remember confusing the two. The other thing that is kind of like a side note is you can actually add warranty, because I got mine at the Microsoft store. I work there, and I got mine at work, and there's a $20 warranty you can add that covers the controller for 3 years. That's actually a pretty cool deal. So if anything goes wrong within that 3 years, you just go to the store and then get another one that day, if you happen to have one close to you. But either way, that's like a side note. If you get it at Best Buy, you can get the Geek Squad protection. I got that on my Logitech mouse, told y'all all about it. Let's talk about some of the negatives, some things that would change, because more or less it's the same as it's been. If you're a PC player, I would definitely say buy the Xbox wireless adapter, because this is not the best experience for, at least with my motherboard and the Bluetooth drivers on my computer. It just disconnects. It disconnects all the time. So like it will be running all of a sudden, it'll just disconnect, and then it'll reconnect. So if I play Call of Duty, I'll be like halfway down the street, disconnect, reconnects, and then I'll be a little bit further down the road, disconnects, reconnects, middle of a gunfight, disconnects, reconnects. So I went back to using, because on the first Elite there was no Bluetooth, it was only the infrared. So I went back to using that, and it's been a steady and stable connection ever since. Oh, one last thing, another positive I wanted to add was that the charging stand, which I'll add a picture of, is actually really cool. Inside of the case, you get it's kind of like a cradle that you can rest the computer, or not the computer, the controller on, and it charges it while it's in there. The battery life goes about 40 hours. The case even has a slot in the back that you can keep it inside of the case completely, and not even take the cradle out if you didn't want to. Like I have my cradle sitting next to my computer, but if you didn't want to take it out at all and you wanted like a showcase, you can have it so that literally it's just inside the Elite case, which it didn't have in the past, It's inside the Elite case, and it's right there for you. Another thing too, which could be looked at as a positive or a negative, it depends on you. For me, this was a positive. I could see how some people may think it's a negative. The paddles are a little bit smaller and tighter to the controller. For me, that's a huge positive. That means that when you rest it on your lap, you're not going to accidentally engage some of the buttons, which used to happen to me every now and then. But for me, like I said, it's a positive. But for some people, they like the bigger paddles, the bigger feel of it, and that's why you have things like this, the SCUF Prestige, and just different SCUF controllers that have the vertical paddles that people enjoy. So like I said, that could be a positive or a negative. One thing that could be perceived as a negative is that the battery is internal, which means if something goes wrong, you got to get a new controller. But I've never had a battery pack die on me, even from one back in the 360 days. So I always got the Microsoft Play and Charge Kit ones. Every now and then I would get like one of those Nikos or something else just in between, like if I sold a controller and they needed it or something like that. I'd get something to replace it, but never had one actually die. They die quicker, but I've never had one die, so I don't really see that being a big issue. But here's a quick rundown, a recap of just why I think you should get it, because I do think you should get this controller given its higher price tag. I think it's easy to justify. If you just were to buy the Elite Series 1 and then you bought a Play and Charge Kit, you're looking at $25, or at the very minimum like $15 at Walmart. So when it gets that close in price and you got such a better, more superior product, I would say just make the jump. So quick rundown why I say you should get it. You can tighten the tension on the sticks. So if you like the sticks loose or firm, you can change it. It feels better. The grips go all the way around. I don't think that they're gonna peel this time around. The color's dope. The color is pretty much all black and it's like smoked out, which is how I bought my SCUF Impact. What else? USB-C charging, not wireless, but essentially you could rest it on that charging tray and then charge your controller, or you could plug it in with USB-C. Has Bluetooth. I'm not gonna be using it, but maybe your drivers are better, so you may be able to run it directly on your PC with Bluetooth. And yeah, it just overall it's the same control that we all know and love, and the shift feature that reassigns every button on your controller to a secondary key is going to be clutch in certain games. So that's all the reasons I think you should get it. Some things you may want to watch out for, like I said earlier, the battery, the Bluetooth could be an issue. If you don't buy that adapter, you're going to end up buying this really dope controller and having to hardwire it to your computer. And price, it's a little bit on the expensive side, but when you start to really look at these controllers from other companies, and by the time you factor rush delivery, because you can go into a store and buy this today, when you factor in rush delivery, they come out to close enough to the same price that I would just say get the Elite every time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is kind of my insight and my input on the Elite Series 2. I'm loving mine so far. Play Call of Duty with it, Red Dead with it. I haven't played Assassin's Creed, but usually I use my controller on PC for all the story games. So I'll give you guys an update next time I do one of these quick videos, let you know how I'm liking it still. It's been about 30 hours of game time, so I got a good enough feel on it to let you guys know that it's a pretty legit controller, because the first one was awesome. So this one's just a better version of it. You guys be easy. I'll catch you in the next video.